Hello adventurer, welcome to the Scratch Quest. Today is day 4 of learning math from scratch, and today I learned about decimals, and I hope to teach you about decimals too, as I did. I hope I can make you understand about decimal as much as I can. So let's start. So imagine if you ate one whole chocolate bar, you would write it as 1. If you ate 2 whole chocolate bar, you would write it as 2. Obviously, as it is a very simple whole number. But what if rather than eating whole chocolate bar, you ate half of it? How do you write it? Do you write it as 1/2? Obviously no, as it would be long and complicated. That's where this dot called decimal comes to place. So previously we ate one whole chocolate bar and half of it. Rather than eating 1/2, we would write it as 1 point, the decimal sign, and 5. Now you may ask, why 5? Why 6? Why not 6? Why not 4? Why not 3? Very easy confusion. Because if you divide, or the half of 1 is 5. Let's prove it. If you add 0.5 plus 0.5, it would give us 1, or 1 whole chocolate bar. In most cases, 1 would be smaller than 5. But in decimals, the number that is right of a decimal is a fraction and a smaller version, and the one that is in left is a bigger and whole number. So here 1.5, the 1 represents 1 whole chocolate bar, the 1 whole chocolate bar, and 0.5 means just the part of the 1 whole chocolate bar, so only 5 pieces of that. So obviously 1 is bigger than 5. So hence decimal shows a small part of a number, or 1. Generally speaking, let's preview one more thing. Let's preview more. In here you can see, in our previous chocolate bar, we can either call it a 1 whole chocolate bar or 10 pieces of it, as we have 10 pieces of the chocolate. So let's see here. Previously, as we have said, we ate 1 whole chocolate bar. Then we ate 5, or half of it. As we got 10 pieces of chocolate, the half of a chocolate would be 5 pieces, remaining another 5 pieces. So obviously we write it as 1.5. But what if rather than eating 5 pieces, we ate up to 3 pieces? We would write it as 1.3. If you ate up to 4 pieces, we would write it as 1.4. If you write it up to 5, we would write it as 1.5, and so on. Now, as we know, there are many decimal numbers we can make, or there are a lot of decimal like 2.6, 4.6, 363.4.43, and so on. We can do many things with decimal numbers. Some of them are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now let's start with addition. Addition of decimal number. Addition, subtraction, and multiplication is honestly very simple. Only division is little complex, so I will try to explain as much as I can. So addition of decimal number. In addition, order doesn't matter, so small number can be at top and the big number can be at the bottom. We can either put it like this or like this. it doesn't really matter. When adding decimal numbers, just think the decimal number doesn't exist, right? That's the way of adding stuff. So 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry over, just like how we add and carry over, just like that. 3 plus 3 is 6, so answer will be 6.1. So at last what we do is we just bring down the decimal numbers. I hope you understand. Now let's go to subtraction. As in subtraction, order does matter. We must keep the older number at top, the smaller number at bottom. Oh, here you can see the 6 is bigger than 4, even though the 3.4 is bigger than 2.6. Now you might panic saying the decimal number, but honestly it is the same. Just like addition, you just have to ignore the decimal number and do subtraction as normal number. See it as 34 minus 26. So first 4 minus 6, we can't do that, so we carry over the 1 from 3, making it 14. 14 minus 6 is how much? 14 minus 6 is 8, right? And as 3 becomes 2, 2 minus 2, 0. So answer would be 0.8. I hope you understand. So in subtraction, let's give you one more revision. Just like subtracting normal numbers, you just have to subtract them as normal. So it would be 8, and it would be 2, and it would be 0. What you need to do is just like addition, you just have to bring decimal number down. Simple as that. Now multiplication. Multiplication is also very similar. As in multiplication, order doesn't matter, so keeping the either number up and down doesn't matter, but we'll keep 3.4 up and 2.6 down and multiply 2.6 with 3.4. So when multiplying, just like addition and subtraction, you have to ignore the decimal sign and multiply. 6 4 is 24. 6 multiplied 3 is how much? 6 multiplied 3 is 18, and it would be 19. So 194. Then just like subtraction, you have to keep the 0 in here. Then what we need to do is just like a normal subtraction, multiplication, sorry, we have to multiply 2 multiply 4, that is 8, and 2 multiply 3, that is 6. And just like multiplication, normal multiplication, we just have to add. So 4 plus 0 is 4, 9 plus 8 is 17. 1 will go here, then 7 plus 1 is 8. Now what you need to do is bring down the number or decimal number or decimal, sorry, right here. Now you may question, the decimal number is after one digit, why don't we put it in here? 7.4. Very good answer, but what you need to see is how much decimal number gap is there. There is 2 number after that, so in 3.4 and 2.6, after decimal number there is 2 number 6 and 4. That's why we move 2 digits to here, 2 digits. For 2 digits we keep the digit number here. I hope you understand. Now the hard topic, dividing. Now there is different method and different scenario of dividing. Simply I would say just use calculator, because only sometimes question will be given and it's not worth it dividing using this calculation. Really complicated, but let's do it for your sake, I guess. So first scenario is dividing a number where one is a decimal number and another is a simple number. Another scenario is where both is a decimal number. So let's start. Just like decimal, what do we need to do is, in the first scenario, is remove the decimals. Now you may ask, how can we remove the decimals? So in 2.6, to remove the decimal, we have to move decimal. If we move the decimal in here, we have to move the decimal in another part too. That's the rule of math. LHS is equal to RHS. So in 260, remember decimal is always there. You just don't see it. If there is decimal in here, if you move it to one place, it would give us another 0. So the answer would be 26 by 2600. Let's say I want to move decimal more. I have to move in here too. It would result in 60 multiplied by 26000. I hope you understand. The more we move from the point, the more 0 we add. Now as we remove the decimal in here, we can just multiply using 26 and 2600. Divide. Now just like dividing a number, a simple number, what you do is 26 ones are 26, and right, that's not how we do it. So 26, let's multiply 26. How much is 600 is 2600. 20 in 100. Now the answer is 100, right? Wrong. As we move the 0 one time, yes, the answer is 100. So if you divide 2.6 by 260, the answer would be 100. It is the same as dividing 26 by 2600. If you calculate or use calculator, it both will give the answer 100. This is one way of doing it. But what if both the number is decimals? Here we can do the same thing. We can just, as we did in before, we can jump digit. This is a simple way of doing that. There is another method, but I'm still learning that method, so I cannot really teach you that. You can learn more method in math antics. I'm learning math or basic math from there. So if you really want to know, please go visit their channel. I will giving their description in the channel.